So I'm very, very pleased to be able to speak with Banthoon Lamsam, the chairman of Kasikornbank in Thailand,
Yes.
and in some ways also a proxy for Thailand as a country,
Yes.
And how it's evolving.
Yes.
In your younger days, you were a very big proponent of the use of strategy. You're a big, advocate of Michael Hammer and so on. How's your thinking on strategy evolved over the years? Where are you today in terms of strategy and execution?
Well, first I want to say that Professor Hammer's re-engineering concept at that time is ancient history.
Yep.
Ancient history. It was a big thing at that time because it represented the first time that a large company tries to do something differently. And it met with good reception in terms of being innovative. But that is not anywhere near the necessity to innovate as today.
Okay.
When things have actually gone way, way beyond the very simple part that we were trying to do back in 1993, 94.
In fact, that was exactly the purpose of my question, because
Yes.
the whole theme has come out as being very important today, and the world is changing. Everything we understand about channel, about
Right.
customer, about
Right.
risk is now up on its head.
Right.
But you're the original Thai strategic thinker. You're the original chairman who brought the idea of strategy and innovation into Thai corporate culture.
Yes.
So how has that evolved over time? When you think innovation today, what do you think of?
Well, I think all companies have to think strategies now. As the environment changes, the competitive landscape changes, people have to always be on their toes, because the customer's taste can completely differ from what they've been in the past few years. So I don't think that's something new now. I think it's a challenge for any company to think up new directions fast. The most important thing is to get the whole organization to move in the same direction. Big companies tend to be very clumsy. Even though, even if you're the chairman, you're the CEO, you can think up something. That's the easy part. The difficult part is convincing the rest of the organization to actually act that way, not only just nod their head.
There's an important component in strategy in Thailand, which is people and your
Yep.
relationship with people,
Right.
your ability to carry people with you, and your inability to do some things which a regular US company might be able to do, like cutting staff or reassigning them and stuff like that. How have you been learning how to deal with the people element in what you needed to do in your bank?
The Western conventional measures of cutting costs would be to cut out the people. That has not been an easy thing to do in a Thai context. We did agree to mutual separation the years after the crisis, but just to cut out the people overnight, I don't think that will actually come out to be positive. And actually, it actually would demoralize the people.
So what's your experience been with things like automation, process?
So automation in the banking part, the banking business, is more of the ability to access the necessary information, so you can serve the customer, you make the decision. I think the day-to-day work of the transactional banking has been taken over a lot by the computer, but still, banking as financial business here requires a lot of risk management, and a lot of that has to do with having to deal on a day-to-day basis, on an individual basis, when the customers come to our banks and they make the transactions. So actually, that's part of the cost.
You're talking about operational risk.
Operational risk, and also the management of the risk against the illegal transactions, money laundering and all that. That takes a lot of human effort to do.
Today,
yes.
And what have you been doing to put in place, the kind of culture where integrity is, taken care of, and you think you have it, or is it a daily warfare? And it's something, is it something that
It's,
you worry about? Because now you're chairman, and I take it that you're not necessarily involved in hands-on on the daily operations.
have a dual role, which is unique in Thailand. Only the Kasikornbank has this. As chairman of the board and also CEO.
Yep.
Even though that is common in the United States, certainly an exception here, and for a good reason that we had to negotiate with the Bank of Thailand. This will not last forever. It will go away with me. But having said that, I'm still fully responsible for the bank's operation. Of course, on a day-to-day basis, the new teams, and that is a good sign that the new teams is taking care of the day-to-day business. But in the end, I'm still responsible for making sure that the bank moves in the right direction strategically, and that the board is on board.
What are your key priorities today? Is digital banking?
Key priorities that I have been already communicated to the investors in general are 4 areas before I depart, which will be in the not too long future. One is to make sure that we don't get caught in a bad cost structure. Re-engineering has to be multiplied hundreds-fold now to make sure you don't get stuck in a process that is cost intensive, labor intensive.
Okay.
And that happens all the time.
Yep.
After a while, a process becomes inefficient.
Your cost income ratio is in the 40s at the moment.
Well, it's not good enough. in my opinion, it still has to be improved. So that's an area that IT has to be involved, re-engineering has to be involved, and making sure that we are on our toes in terms of don't overspend something that you cannot count on the return.
Yeah, but you're doing that at a time when you also have another ambition, which is regionalizing the bank.
Yeah, I mean that goes the other way. Because we go to, and then the second part of the strategy is make sure that there's a foothold in ASEAN. And I think Kasikornbank should remain only a Thai company, but it's an ASEAN company, so we can negotiate the flow of capital and trade that comes around to ASEAN.
Well, why have the Thai banks been slow about regionalization?
Thai banks,
Even
by size, not that big to go out and buy anything. Even set up a network. You have to work in more of a relationship.
But having said that, even in the Indo-China region, the case for regionalization has been there for a while, and the Thai banks are not.
Well, the bulk of the business is not there. All these ASEAN countries are only beginning to come around in terms of economic growth. And also, it's not automatic that you get to open branches in these countries. You have to go through the procedure. Opening a bank branch is a highly political maneuver.
Right, but you've now embarked, so that's your second strategy.
But that is the direction, to make sure that Kasikornbank will be perceived as an
regional
ASEAN bank. I don't think we can have any aspiration as to being big in locally in Japan or China or Korea, but that's not necessary. As long as the flow of the capital coming from those 3 countries to ASEAN, we can negotiate that.
Organic growth, mergers and acquisition?
Organic growth is probably the way to go for the time being, given the limited capital that Thai banks have, and given the limited managerial resources. Thai managers are having to learn a new culture of having to go out of the countries to work in another cultural environment, in another language. So it's not something that is as automatic as some other countries where the English is more of a common language.
So you've got cost, you've got regionalization.
You've got cost regionalization. And the third thing is this thing is now very hot in terms of the involvement of the ITs in the new kind of financial transaction. You call it disruption, you call it digitalization.
What do you call it?
Yeah. We want to call it disruption because it has more impact. Digital banking, it sounds is bland right now, but disruption is something that can wipe you out. And if you don't watch out, that can really happen. So we have to get going in that direction also.
So what have you been doing? We noticed from your numbers that the bank seems to be resonating in the last few years, meaning that your profitability is good, you seem to be growing on your...
Well, the normal banking business has been okay in the past several years. Now it's going to be cut down a little bit due to the asset quality cycle. But that is not something that can be too worrisome. As the economy comes around again, then the banks will operate more profitably. But more important thing is that to get the new kinds of a platform that can transact the financials business more efficiently.
Does this involve teaching your existing staff the new platform?
It involves first being aware that you can be wiped out if you just stick to the old procedures.
Who are you afraid of? Other banks, non-banks?
Anybody. Anybody can has the ingenuity to use the new platform, the IT platform, and to make that something of that can replace the existing financial transactions that the banks normally do.
But in Thailand, because of the protection that the banks have, it's not an immediate...
Well, it's not immediate, but it's something that if the world comes around to that, the Thailand also will have to come around to that. And the Bank of Thailand also will have to come around to that.
And what have been some recent wins, the recent successes that you've had?
I don't think anything has drastically happened in the past year yet, but we have set up a new body altogether that deals particularly with the IT, in terms of not only day-to-day IT operation, as well as thinking up the new methods of replacing the existing procedures.
Just going back to your regionalization team, which are low-hanging fruits, countries that you think you can go in, make a difference, there is business?
No, I mean, low-hanging fruit, what do you mean? You can set up a branch, that doesn't mean you have eaten the fruits. But certain countries are more amenable to setting up a branch than others. We have a branch in Laos, we should be having a branch in Cambodia pretty soon. Burma is tougher, Vietnam is tougher.
In the last few years, you seem to have put your finger on and been quite successful with this thing called supply chain financing. And it seemed to have come to you through your association with the Japanese banks.
Not really. I think these technical terms are not as important as the mentality of the management team, that making sure that we interpret the going-ons in the marketplace fast enough and correctly enough.
But you had a good management team that put in place processes, captured customers.
One thing that is good today, another day it can be always obsolete. We do have a good relationship with the Japanese regional banks. They also have to come to us in their own ways, because the Japanese SMEs now have to relocate to ASEAN to manage their costs. So that's something that we work with the Japanese regional banks so we can together co-service these companies that move into ASEAN.
But is there a scope for expanding that to build your own SME business?
We do have our own SME business. I think actually Kasikornbank is perceived to be a more focused on SME sector than the other banks in Thailand. But it's a tricky sector to be in. Risk is harder to manage, and you have to know when to stop.
So there's digitisation or disruption, as you call it.
Okay, that's the third strategy.
Yeah.
The fourth strategy is to make sure that after I depart, the new generation of management can handle this.
And what sort of roadmap are you putting in place?
The roadmap is, of course, identify the key persons who have the basic technical know-how to run the banking business. But more important than that is to build the culture that they can.
Will that person be from within the bank or outside?
I think in the past decade, banks have acquired people from outside. They cannot source fast enough from the internal staff. So I think people have been moving around. So to make sure that the banks have a strategic environment, a cultural environment that attracts talents. And even if we have attracted the talents, they have to come in and work together well.
Does the Thai economy work for or against the bank, given where it is today?
Well, the Thai economy has slowed down recently. It is not a total surprise, and other countries have
Also,
experienced the same thing. But
yeah.
you have to be able to manage that slowdown until the cycle comes around again.
There's the cycle of a normal economy. There's also a number of structural, issues that are
Well,
are
that's
unique.
something that the government has to handle to make sure that they put Thailand on a more solid platform for growth.
But do you think that after an election that things will get better?
I cannot say for sure when that is going to happen. I don't think that is the only factor that we have to consider. I think in the meantime, to make sure that with the current interim kind of political structure, that things can still get done.
You know, Kun Banthoon, I've seen how you've led the bank in all these years, and you've always been a man with strategic clarity. And if you don't have that, you wouldn't lead it. How's your strategic clarity evolved over time? And here's a very important question. Did you feel at any point that you lost your way and then you found your way back again? Was there a journey that you had to go through, that you learned a few things about yourself, about your bank, that makes you stronger today?
I think it's important to be able to perceive how the world is changing around you, and to make sure that even though I wouldn't have all the technical answers, but I want to make sure that I have the kind of people that are capable of finding out what the technical solutions will be. I mean, as I
so you're more dependent on people now than you were before.
As I grow older, as I go closer to the day that I will have to depart from the bank, it's important that I have the people behind me that have the highest probability of finding out what to do.
Kun Banthoon, thank you very much for giving me your insights into your own journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much.